picture the very, very familiar scene, please. You're writing at your Mac and you need to do something, find something, look something up, open up, whatever. You can reach for the dock, for menus, you can do keyboard shortcuts, you can press Stream Deck buttons. Maybe there's more to it. But there is also now this. How about you press a button and wherever your cursor happens to be on the screen, you can have something like this. I think I will pick this 58 Keys channel's opening titles. Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 Keys, which as ever, as always, is for writers. Writers like you and me who use New Write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. But today it's the Mac and it's these on-screen controls at your fingertip or your mouse tip or your trackpad. Yeah, one of those. Do please like, subscribe, or patronize me, because well, you know how much it helps, but also particularly with Patreon, it'd be fun to talk with you. But while we're talking now, let me say that I know of 3 of these things and all 3 are excellent. And actually, I think when I saw my first one, I knew this was going to become a whole genre of Mac apps, because the right one for you is so useful. Yeah, they're also kind of fundamentally the same, really. So let me tell you that one is called Radial for Mac, one is by Logitech and comes with their mouse, handy mouse example there, and another is part of Stream Deck. Okay, you should also know that those last 2, they're very good. They're officially free, but they require you to have that mouse or a physical Stream Deck. So yeah, no, they're not. Radial, it's different. It's just software. It's a one-time app purchase that costs €20. It's made by a company in Denmark, a company called App Virgin. As I record this, €20 works out to be about £17 or $23, one-off thing. And this is how, well, I was going to say this is how Radial works. This is how all of them work, really. If you choose a keyboard combination to launch, say, Radial, press 2 keys on the keyboard. Radial gives you a list of them. You could dedicate a mouse button to it, or actually specifically to Radial, I've settled on wiggling the cursor about for a moment. By default, when you do any of this, and you call up, in this case Radial, you get it as this great circular menu in the center of your screen. Different with others. With Radial, it's in the center of your screen, and I did not see the point of that. But in the very, very comprehensive settings panel, you can go to the appearance section and turn on position at cursor. You know, normally appearance is the, I don't know, the icons, the color or something, and there is a lot of that in there, but this one is also about how it appears on the screen. So I don't know why I like that, but I do. Change that setting and now it'll pop up wherever you have your cursor on the screen. So anyway, I consider that having it properly popping up wherever your cursor is. You can add then different controls to that Radial wheel that pops up. You can have up to 9 separate controls, such as opening particular apps. I mean, in my case, I'm trying it with a few apps, and then I got a control to run a shortcut. I got one to open a particular website. Whatever you want, up to 9 things. Hold that thought. Open the Radial app, choose on menu content, click on menu content, click on add shortcut, and then just for one fast example, you can click on the add button there, the blue add button, and choose open application from the list that appears. Then find that application you want, name this control something so you'll remember which one it is, save, and you're done. Anytime you now open Radial on your Mac, there it is. There's the button, there's the control. Open apps, open documents, open websites, run shortcuts, run keyboard maestro, macros, rearrange. I haven't tried this, but also rearranging windows can be done. And most usefully of all, Radial will let you set up whole sequences of these actions, these controls. So you call up the menu, click once, and off it goes, running through multiple things like opening, well, say all of the apps that you know you need for a particular job. I couldn't find a way to have it just open a folder, but that might just be me. Particularly so because, as with Apple shortcuts, you can ask Radial to make up a control for you using AI. Click the Create with AI button and you can describe what you want to control, what you want to have it do. And there's even a handy example there, which is Open Documents folder. That's exactly what I wanted. So I tried that. No, type in any other description actually, and you always get a warning about AI making mistakes, but it doesn't do anything. And it doesn't add Open Documents folder. I couldn't get to add any actions, and no idea why. But you manually choose things, and that way it will open apps, documents, websites, and you can have this thing that one control does all of them, particularly like that. One small thing, when you've called up Radial, if you change your mind, it's initially hard to get rid of it unless you do pick some control. However, in that, say it again, comprehensive settings section, there is an option called Expanded Focus Area. If you turn that off, now you can just click away from the radial wheel and it goes away. I'm conscious that I'm getting really specific about Radial. Why not? You know, it's good. But I want to be clear that, details aside, this is really how all of these on-screen menu apps work. So now you know all of them. You could get back to writing, except I would like to show you the Logitech one because I think it's the best looking one. And I must show you the virtual Stream Deck because that's got to be the most powerful, comprehensive, customizable one. I really like that one. So next, let's do it the one that I think, as I say, has the best visual design. This is the Action Ring, which was introduced by Logitech with this, the Logitech MX Master 4 mouse. Importantly, that mouse is for right-handed people. There isn't a left-hand version. And I don't know, I mean, you can use it, but it's not great. What I do know is that this particular mouse has a specific button for this Action Ring, and it also has haptic feedback, so you can feel when you've called it up. But what it really does is call up this Action Ring on Logitech's Logi Options Plus app for the Mac, and as it happens, older MX Master mice can use that same software. Not actually fully 100% clear how, but all of these mice, they have a startling number of buttons, and you can change what any of them do. So it must be that you just pick one and say, yeah, that's it, that's for the Action Ring, please. When you have it, however you call it up, you're mousing away, you push whatever the button is, and you get an Action Ring that looks a bit like this. I think that is the neatest, tightest look of all these on-screen menus. But note too that everything is translucent. As you then move your mouse over each control, it then turns full color, just to help you know which one you're going to do. And also, if you wait just a tiny bit because you're still not sure, we get a little label saying what your control is. I said it looks a bit like this. It will look very similar. You'll have labels, it'll be translucent, it'll be the same shape, it'll be the same size. But beyond that, the entire point is to customize the control so that you have what you need most. I've chiefly been using it just to launch key apps I use, actually, particularly when I was reviewing the mouse, but you can do more. Not as much as you can with either Radial or the next one, the virtual Stream Deck, but you can do a lot. One example, control the max volume, minimize or maximize windows, open the emoji menu if you really must, or open particular files and folders. The list goes on, and it is impressive. Plus, I think, although I found this more fiddly than with the Stream Deck version, you can create series of actions so that choosing one control does several things in a row. Like I said, that is so incredibly handy with this. As it is, I'm a trackpad user. The mouse gives you finer control over things, you more precision, clicking on things, and I do like that, particularly in graphics and image editing, but I just happen to prefer trackpads. Do you need to know this? I did try using both for a time, and it was good, except, like I say, the mouse is for right-handed people. So I had to experiment with moving the trackpad to the left, or getting used to the mouse in my left hand, I tried that for a while, or having the trackpad and the mouse both on the right. And I think ultimately that last one was the best, but it still wasn't great, and I'd just forget the mouse was there, and just leave it there. The Action Ring and Logi options plus software are free, really, I suppose. And you can use them when you buy an MX Master 4 mouse, which retails for around $95 or about £110. I should say, I'm not clear about this, but Logitech sells versions of this that are expressly labelled as being for the Mac, which kind of implies that the others aren't. But as far as I can tell, as far as I can find out, there isn't a difference. Nonetheless, could well be wrong, so I would buy the 4 Mac version. I bet it just costs a little bit more. That'll be what it is. Now, the last one I want to show you, and well, the last one I know, if you know of more of them, I would really, really be glad to know. Is also, as happens, the first one I came across, and since this is of no earthly significance, I will tell you that, like I said, I used this and I instantly knew this was going to become something that there would be other people doing. There would be this genre. It was that immediately useful. I think now that Radial and the Logitech Action Ring might be more apparently useful, because this virtual Stream Deck, it does take a little bit more setting up, but it is arguably the most useful, and chiefly for this reason. I'm showing you here a 3x3 grid of controls that appear around my cursor, wherever the cursor is, but I'm only showing you that because it's how I happen to like it. Through the Elgato Stream Deck app, you can expand or contract it from, you can have just one single control, one single button, a 1x1 grid, or up to 8x8 for 64 controls. And because 64 whatever is clearly not enough, you don't have to have just one of these virtual Stream Decks. You can have, well, I know it's several. I don't even know yet if there is a limit. You can only call them up one at a time, but you can have different keystrokes for different ones. So as long as you're, wanting to tap and tap thing, you can just, call up one after another and have oodles of these things. I think ultimately that's a bit pointless, isn't it? I mean, the aim here is to have the controls that you need right where you need them. And if you have 2 virtual Stream Decks, both with the maximum number of controls, well, then you're now looking at 128 buttons. That's not really quick and convenient, but these virtual Stream Decks are like real Stream Decks in that you can have different sets of controls. You can have the one virtual Stream Deck, but different controls appear depending on what you're doing. So if Pages is the app you're in, when you call up the virtual Stream Deck, it could have a dedicated set of controls that are totally different to when you're in, I don't know, Safari or Apple Mail. You choose the controls, you choose if they always appear or if they appear in certain apps, and then forever afterwards, you forget about it, it just happens automatically. Whatever you're doing, press the keyboard shortcut that you have chosen, and a virtual Stream Deck with all of the right controls just appears where you need it. This is also like a real Stream Deck in that what it shows you in those controls and how you set it up is the same. Each of these controls is like a button on a physical Stream Deck, which means really that each control, each button, it's like it's a screen. You can show anything on there, any image, so an app's icon, images you make yourself, like my folders or tools, or tools like the date. That's what I'm thinking of, or maybe my favourite, actually, I love this one, a button to switch between the Mac's speakers and headphones. I leave my headphones plugged in all the time rather than having them constantly pulling out around the back of the Mac studio. I press the button when I need to edit videos and podcasts, pop on the headphone, do the job. Tap them down. You get tools like that from the Elgato marketplace online, and plenty of them are free. I think that one was. Others are not, and you can get sets of images to go on your buttons too, and again, some free, some not. To set up any control on any Stream Deck, real or virtual, you open the Elgato Stream Deck software, click on a blank control, drag from a list, drag onto it what you want from a list, and that's it. Well, that's kind of it. There's more to it. You can have, again, controls to do endless series of things with one button, which is just amazingly free. You get addicted to that. And you can also have this thing of different sets of controls per app. It's all very good. All takes you a time to get used to, but then once you are, you'll never go back. I do actually prefer the real Stream Decks, the physical ones, but having those controls appear where the cursor is, that's really hard to beat. Plus, it's just as well that I like the real ones, because you cannot use a virtual Stream Deck if you do not also have a real one, an actual physical one. The first time you run Elgato's app and go through Add Virtual Device, it checks to see that you have a real Stream Deck attached, and if you don't, tough luck. And it will actually also periodically check again, but it isn't all the time. I don't know what the period is, other than, well, it's certainly more than a few days between checks. But so while, you know, I actually have several real Stream Decks, there was this point when I wanted to do some work while I was away, so I briefly plugged a real one into my MacBook Pro before I left, created the virtual Stream Deck thing on there, and then unplugged the real one, left that at home. So it's not exactly like, you know, the old-fashioned dongle thing in which nothing works without the real device permanently attached, but you do still need a real one, which is not actually bad at all, since the real ones are great. Real physical Elgato Stream Decks, they start at £100 or $100 for the Stream Deck Neo, which I think is an absolutely excellent buy, but you can do better because it's typically available for around £85 or dollars. Plus, Elgato seems to have just an endless series of sales, which seem to always include this Stream Deck Neo. So far, their sales have never included this, the Stream Deck Plus XL, which I will link to in the description, but I cannot face telling you the price because it would put it back. I'm like, oh, there it is. Okay, move on, William. It is tremendous, though. I really like that. You don't need any of this, but I think you want one. And there is the genuine justification that having controls wherever you move your cursor does truly help. I mean, I suppose it would help anybody using a Mac, but with writing, anytime you break out of the writing to do something, anything, you then have to get back into it. And I don't mean reaching for an app in the Mac's dock means you need to take an afternoon's tea break to recover and remember where you were or anything, but I'm serious. The faster and the easier the things you can do without thinking, the less you have to think about something, the more your concentration can stay where it needs to be, where it needs to on your writing. So you can tell I am recommending you at least try these. I think you've read between the lines enough to spot that I like them. But even if you will benefit from one, you certainly won't need all three. It's weird that I've got all three. I've already said, actually, that as much as I like the Logitech one, I don't use it because I don't use the mouse that goes with it. I don't use it much enough. With the virtual Stream Deck, especially since I bought this enormous, huge, real, very expensive one, it tends to be that I've got that 9x9, 3x3 grid, and there's only one controller using it. I should rework the rest, you know, but even just the one is useful. It's complicated to explain what it does. It does a few things. Radial, the first one you and I talked about, that's been around for a while apparently, but I only just heard of it. In fact, as we speak, I think I've probably got 20 minutes left on the trial version, but I think I'm going to buy it. Links to all of this are in the description, of course. I should also say that if it's the Stream Deck one that you're drawn to, well then the YouTube algorithm gods, how does this work? They are about to magically offer you a 58 Keys video all about them. Amazing. Do please take a look, and especially so because since I made that video I've upgraded to this much more expensive, costly one, and I'd really like you to give me an excuse to talk about it and somehow justify the cost to myself. Okay, that's getting personal now. Let's just say that's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Thank you very much for watching. Now take care of yourself. Write more. It's so important. And I'll see you soon.